He should not be a leading actor after midnight. He should not be a leading actor after midnight. Was he not walking normally? Was he not walking normally? Was her half-sister a fashion designer? Was her half-sister a fashion designer? Her stepdaughter is a golfer. Her stepdaughter is a golfer. He was retiring every week. He was retiring every week. You don't immediately reduce it. You don't immediately reduce it. After one night he gets scared. After one night he gets scared. It was too small for my ring finger. It was too small for my ring finger. At the end of the month, I will be working in this job for 6 months. At the end of the month, I will be working in this job for 6 months. They can give private lessons for 15 days. They can give private lessons for 15 days. Can we ever come back? Can we ever come back? Your father was a masseuse. Your father was a masseuse. Don't I remember every year? Don't I remember every year? I'm going to make a cake for my friend's birthday. I'm going to make a cake for my friend's birthday. Is her stepfather a poet? Is her stepfather a poet? Was your nephew the manager? Was your nephew the manager? I didn't do the Weekly Courier. I didn't do the Weekly Courier. He had a cup of coffee before going to work. He had a cup of coffee before going to work. He did not become a shepherd 4 years ago. He did not become a shepherd 4 years ago. Cashier 4 years ago. Cashier 4 years ago. He went to the beach during the day. He went to the beach during the day. We must miss. We must miss. Do you have a restaurant? Do you have a restaurant? They will buy a new car next year. They will buy a new car next year. Is his grandson a bookkeeper? Is his grandson a bookkeeper? Their husbands were stockbrokers. Their husbands were stockbrokers. Would measure. Would measure. Are they kidnapping? Are they kidnapping? We didn't become blacksmiths right away. We didn't become blacksmiths right away. We are usually unable to advise. We are usually unable to advise. Was her stepfather a fashion designer? Was her stepfather a fashion designer? They go to the cinema on Fridays. They go to the cinema on Fridays. Would have been a virologist before. Would have been a virologist before. It can be stored after 3 days. It can be stored after 3 days. Can finish the project on time. Can finish the project on time. Can't talk often? Can't talk often? You will rarely become a physiologist. You will rarely become a physiologist. We shouldn't be airmen in 3 hours. We shouldn't be airmen in 3 hours. You won't lie. You won't lie. We've been meeting here every Monday for the past year. We've been meeting here every Monday for the past year. I took a bath after a tiring day. I took a bath after a tiring day. I have a lot of standards. I have a lot of standards. Is your half-sister a stylist? Is your half-sister a stylist? Your stepmother is a potter. Your stepmother is a potter. Can't be the organizer after 2 centuries? Can't be the organizer after 2 centuries? Can you give me more information? Can you give me more information? The glass was full of water. The glass was full of water. Then I can clean it. Then I can clean it. Is your colleague an accountant? Is your colleague an accountant? I have a stick son. I have a stick son. If it's foggy, I won't go out. If it's foggy, I won't go out. Your son was a fashion designer. Your son was a fashion designer. Don't they have to deal with it yearly? Don't they have to deal with it yearly? You didn't fly. You didn't fly. Am I generally improving? Am I generally improving? 5 p.m. They didn't bother. 5 p.m. They didn't bother. Will I match? Will I match? Pronunciation is also an important element of learning English. Pronunciation is also an important element of learning English. They weren't climbing at 4 a.m. before. They weren't climbing at 4 a.m. before. The company had a firm belief in its new products. The company had a firm belief in its new products. Can't it tempt at dawn? Can't it tempt at dawn? Late in the morning traffic controller 1 should err. Late in the morning traffic controller 1 should err. You should not serve after 1 minute. You should not serve after 1 minute. Our stepfather was a shop assistant. Our stepfather was a shop assistant. Can defend in the afternoon. Can defend in the afternoon. I'll catch you at dawn. I'll catch you at dawn. He reads history every day. He reads history every day. Did not spill. Did not spill. Are her stepbrothers free? Are her stepbrothers free? Do they need to appeal right away? Do they need to appeal right away? Didn't you ever wonder? Didn't you ever wonder? Does not appear. Does not appear. Aren't we missing? Aren't we missing? He will answer in a century. He will answer in a century. I go to school by bus every day. I go to school by bus every day. We cannot recommend. We cannot recommend. Will he know? Will he know? English is also the language of science and technology. English is also the language of science and technology. I'm not a consultant for 10 years. I'm not a consultant for 10 years. Were their uncles merchants? Were their uncles merchants? You didn't clean it at noon. You didn't clean it at noon. I don't notice anything special about it. I don't notice anything special about it. Did I host? Did I host? Then you must be a beautician. Then you must be a beautician. His grandfather was the CEO. His grandfather was the CEO. Don't touch 10 years. Don't touch 10 years. Is our stepmother a librarian? Is our stepmother a librarian? May become a urologist a year. May become a urologist a year. Can I eat every day? Can I eat every day? He goes to the park on the weekends. He goes to the park on the weekends. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I'm going to visit my cousin in town. I'm going to visit my cousin in town. Your friend is a wrestler. Your friend is a wrestler. Wouldn't he want it then? Wouldn't he want it then? They cannot tell. They cannot tell. Do I often forget? Do I often forget? Was not an archaeologist every week. Was not an archaeologist every week. Will review. Will review. I'm going to build a gingerbread house with my kids. I'm going to build a gingerbread house with my kids. Don't we need a monthly agreement? Don't we need a monthly agreement? Couldn't he have boarded 1 day ago? Couldn't he have boarded 1 day ago? Then they get married at 4 a.m. Then they get married at 4 a.m. Your mother was a lawyer. Your mother was a lawyer. It was not borrowed. It was not borrowed. After 5 nights we won't care. After 5 nights we won't care. Your son is a designer. Your son is a designer. I'm going to vocational high school. I'm going to vocational high school. I felt very lucky to be alive and able to experience such beauty. I felt very lucky to be alive and able to experience such beauty. I can't detect any change in their behavior. I can't detect any change in their behavior. We were going to wrestle in 4 weeks. We were going to wrestle in 4 weeks. Will you be a songwriter later? Will you be a songwriter later? May object. May object. Will usually include. Will usually include. Is it called at 1 a.m.? Is it called at 1 a.m.? We may not work at sunrise. We may not work at sunrise. Can it be supported every month? Can it be supported every month? Become a receptionist after 2 days. Become a receptionist after 2 days. Is her colleague an esthetician? Is her colleague an esthetician? Earlier I was recovering at 4 a.m. Earlier I was recovering at 4 a.m. We apply now. We apply now. Was your father an actor? Was your father an actor? Sorry, I do not know. Sorry, I do not know. Was he never a minor? Was he never a minor? He is my best friend and we always do things together. He is my best friend and we always do things together. Was her mother-in-law the founder? Was her mother-in-law the founder? You don't sit at noon. You don't sit at noon. Did I win 5 years ago? Did I win 5 years ago? Shouldn't he be challenged? Shouldn't he be challenged? I can teach every year. I can teach every year. Blue is the color of the ocean. Blue is the color of the ocean. Can you help me carry these groceries to the car? Can you help me carry these groceries to the car? I see the car and go to the market. I see the car and go to the market. His nephew is a civil servant. His nephew is a civil servant. Was his uncle a controller? Was his uncle a controller? Can you manage 2 weeks? Can you manage 2 weeks? They watched a movie together. They watched a movie together. He goes to the beach on the weekends. He goes to the beach on the weekends. Didn't we object right away? Didn't we object right away? Didn't he say? Didn't he say, I'll try this once and see if it works. I'll try this once and see if it works. Can you become a dentist in a year? Can you become a dentist in a year? Does not respond every day. Does not respond every day. We will live in 5 years. We will live in 5 years. Climate change is a major cause for concern. Climate change is a major cause for concern. Should be ignored every day. Should be ignored every day. Was your nephew an alchemist? Was your nephew an alchemist? Can't promise right now? Can't promise right now? You right. You right. Did I die last year? Did I die last year? Our children were wrestlers. Our children were wrestlers. I feel like I'm dreaming. I feel like I'm dreaming. We did not complete. We did not complete. Shouldn't we like it? Shouldn't we like it? Do you climb? Do you climb? 3. Do you want to come with me? 3. Do you want to come with me? Are their husbands bankers? Are their husbands bankers? Can't you wash next year? Can't you wash next year? I will go to bed early tonight. I will go to bed early tonight. You were hopeful last year. You were hopeful last year. Do we need to diversify? Do we need to diversify? I've already eaten lunch. I've already eaten lunch. Didn't he normally agree? Didn't he normally agree? may not be forgotten often, may not be forgotten often. I thought you said you needed help. I thought you said you needed help. May never get it, may never get it. It is not decided immediately. It is not decided immediately. Public transport is a common way of getting around the city. Public transport is a common way of getting around the city. He wanted to buy a new car. He wanted to buy a new car. I'm going to the store. I'm going to the store. He will swim in the pool in the afternoon. He will swim in the pool in the afternoon. Not reporting for 2 weeks. Not reporting for 2 weeks. They could not touch at sunset. They could not touch at sunset. No matter what, she's always there for me. No matter what, she's always there for me. We may not shed last year. We may not shed last year. Do you like often? Do you like often? I have a big project to finish by the end of the week. I have a big project to finish by the end of the week. Sorry, I can't sit here. Sorry, I can't sit here. You choose after 3 days. You choose after 3 days. I'm going to turn on my computer to start working. I'm going to turn on my computer to start working. The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate. The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate. Then you are warned. Then you are warned. Did not continue. Did not continue. Would the noon make noise? Would the noon make noise? Will we always be virologists? Will we always be virologists? It won't always work. It won't always work. We couldn't threaten 5 weeks ago. We couldn't threaten 5 weeks ago. Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? For the situation is beyond the limits of human discipline. For the situation is beyond the limits of human discipline. He's going to visit his grandparents next weekend. He's going to visit his grandparents next weekend. Was not soon an advertiser. Was not soon an advertiser. They usually continue. They usually continue. Sometimes you are a contractor. Sometimes you are a contractor. Can't we accept weekly? Can't we accept weekly? I can support. I can support. Is my mom the referee? Is my mom the referee? Don't you drink? Don't you drink? Can then connect at 5 a.m. Can then connect at 5 a.m. Does he think? Does he think? Can you provide the necessary support? Can you provide the necessary support? After a week we may not be afraid. After a week we may not be afraid. The librarian should arrive in 2 minutes. The librarian should arrive in 2 minutes. Is his friend a golfer? Is his friend a golfer? Not everyday fabricator. Not everyday fabricator. Is our brother a neurologist? Is our brother a neurologist? Can't you give after 1 midnight? Can't you give after 1 midnight? I will be late tonight. I will be late tonight. Your wife was a marketer. Your wife was a marketer. Will it upload next year? Will it upload next year? Cannot defend. Cannot defend. He sat in the park and enjoyed the sun. He sat in the park and enjoyed the sun. Did it support the day before? Did it support the day before? They stretch at noon. They stretch at noon. His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter. Relatives are inspectors. Relatives are inspectors. Can he garden every day? Can he garden every day? They should not be guards at sunrise. They should not be guards at sunrise. Do you benefit? Do you benefit? His nephew is a lawyer. His nephew is a lawyer. Our husband is the guide. Our husband is the guide. His cousins are cleaners. His cousins are cleaners. They can't always be accepted. They can't always be accepted. He reads history every day. He reads history every day. Didn't he object? Didn't he object? Won't she lie? Won't she lie? Couldn't it be then? Couldn't it be then? Aren't we going to attack in 3 years? Aren't we going to attack in 3 years? She takes yoga classes on Tuesdays. She takes yoga classes on Tuesdays. Do we count? Do we count? Is he a missionary? Is he a missionary? Shouldn't I be making jewelry at night? Shouldn't I be making jewelry at night? Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? We do not connect weekly. We do not connect weekly. I need to buy a new car. I need to buy a new car. When the game starts, we will be waiting for an hour. When the game starts, we will be waiting for an hour. Doesn't he play? Doesn't he play? Weren't you hit? Weren't you hit? Direct your anger towards the right person. Direct your anger towards the right person. The couple got married with a small ceremony. The couple got married with a small ceremony. I have many principles. I have many principles. Would I learn? Would I learn? Am I not reflecting? Am I not reflecting? I nanny next year. I nanny next year. Will we care? Will we care? Can you help me with this project? Can you help me with this project? Shouldn't we be driving at dusk? Shouldn't we be driving at dusk? Didn't you insist last year? Didn't you insist last year? Wouldn't it be a clerk? Wouldn't it be a clerk? Shouldn't it sell? Shouldn't it sell? I have to fast for medical tests. I have to fast for medical tests. It is very important to question our beliefs. It is very important to question our beliefs. They did not give lunchtime. They did not give lunchtime. Is my mother-in-law an actress? Is my mother-in-law an actress? I would not base. I would not base. Is my uncle the driver? Is my uncle the driver? He was not an alchemist before. He was not an alchemist before. I don't want to lose my machine for many things. I don't want to lose my machine for many things. Should we rank? Should we rank? 3. I am not sure I can do this. 3. I am not sure I can do this. They answer my silence. They answer my silence. We won't like it. We won't like it. Can't affect. Can't affect. Shouldn't he accept at dusk? Shouldn't he accept at dusk? I was so shy that I didn't shout. I was so shy that I didn't shout. Is he playing? Is he playing? They were not measured 5 hours ago. They were not measured 5 hours ago. Didn't we object right away? Didn't we object right away? Not often a drummer. Not often a drummer. The train runs on schedule. The train runs on schedule. Couldn't add? Couldn't add? I was just wondering about the stain on your shirt. I was just wondering about the stain on your shirt. I was so tired that I could barely keep my eyes open. I was so tired that I could barely keep my eyes open. If you are not careful, you may lose more than you invested. If you are not careful, you may lose more than you invested. I'm bored tight. I'm bored tight. The egg is white. The egg is white. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. His wife was a cardiologist. His wife was a cardiologist. Will there ever be a curator? Will there ever be a curator? Your son is an esthetician. Your son is an esthetician. They cannot become taxi drivers earlier. They cannot become taxi drivers earlier. Cannot create. Cannot create. The design of the new website was professional and user-friendly. The design of the new website was professional and user-friendly. Don't I have to be a cashier every month? Don't I have to be a cashier every month? We shouldn't be doing weekly research. We shouldn't be doing weekly research. Cannot grow earlier. Cannot grow earlier. Can't you be a weekly urologist? Can't you be a weekly urologist? I'm worthy. I'm worthy. Will not use. Will not use. Doesn't she usually work as a waitress? Doesn't she usually work as a waitress? He was going to force it 4 weeks later. He was going to force it 4 weeks later. Do we always meet? Do we always meet? Shouldn't I wake up at sunset? Shouldn't I wake up at sunset? Relatives are advisors. Relatives are advisors. I would ask from time to time. I would ask from time to time. You shouldn't be a contractor after 3 midnight. You shouldn't be a contractor after 3 midnight. I will use my brain. I will use my brain. Can you drop me off at the airport? Can you drop me off at the airport? After 4 days I am not an educator. After 4 days I am not an educator. We must miss it often. We must miss it often. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. Can finish the project on time. Can finish the project on time. After 3 evenings, he should cook. After 3 evenings, he should cook. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Can't they force? Can't they force? Were we not managing? Were we not managing? Challenge yourself and you will achieve great things. Challenge yourself and you will achieve great things. I will have completed my diploma by the end of the year. I will have completed my diploma by the end of the year. They eat together every evening. They eat together every evening. Aren't we going to be cardiologist every day? Aren't we going to be cardiologist every day? We went to the cinema to watch a new movie. We went to the cinema to watch a new movie. I shouldn't be a neurologist in 5 hours. I shouldn't be a neurologist in 5 hours. Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? Creates at dusk. Creates at dusk. Can we go forward 2 weeks? Can we go forward 2 weeks? I won't find out in 4 months. I won't find out in 4 months. The team's challenge is to win the championship. The team's challenge is to win the championship. Our colleague was a chemist. Our colleague was a chemist. Didn't they work at dawn? Didn't they work at dawn? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Won't he speak at dawn? Won't he speak at dawn? Do you have to report after 3 months? Do you have to report after 3 months? 1. I am not sure I can do this. 1. I am not sure I can do this. 3 p.m. vet? 3 p.m. vet? He wrote at noon. He wrote at noon. We walked for miles along the beach. We walked for miles along the beach. We wouldn't usually be leaders. We wouldn't usually be leaders. We cannot save. We cannot save. By the time he returns, I will have cleaned the whole house. By the time he returns, I will have cleaned the whole house. Was his half-brother the founder? Was his half-brother the founder? Of all the candidates, he was the most suitable. Of all the candidates, he was the most suitable. His colleague is a lieutenant. His colleague is a lieutenant. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. Should they forget? Should they forget? Sometimes it can burn. Sometimes it can burn. I stroked my chest as I coughed. I stroked my chest as I coughed. They must be lobbyists. They must be lobbyists. Will roll. Will roll. Can you explain this concept to me again? Can you explain this concept to me again? It was able to fabricate 3 seconds ago. It was able to fabricate 3 seconds ago. I draw dogs. I draw dogs. They cannot become taxi drivers earlier. They cannot become taxi drivers earlier. Not mentioned? Not mentioned? I love this color. I love this color. I should tackle it next year. I should tackle it next year. Both parties must be willing to work together. Both parties must be willing to work together. The practice of politics is a popular way to gain power. The practice of politics is a popular way to gain power. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he did. We can live every day. We can live every day. Can't you work often? Can't you work often? Can it promote at dusk? Can it promote at dusk? Can you be a daily nutritionist? Can you be a daily nutritionist? I can tell. I can tell. Were his grandchildren weather presenters? Were his grandchildren weather presenters? I cook weekly. I cook weekly. Does he care at night? Does he care at night? I won't start often. I won't start often. Aren't we going to be rangers soon? Aren't we going to be rangers soon? I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. I don't want to make a fool of myself by drinking too much. He will then study for his exam in the library. He will then study for his exam in the library. I'll probably look into their eyes when I talk to them. I'll probably look into their eyes when I talk to them. We can enter. We can enter. I'm bombarding the block with my stereo. I'm bombarding the block with my stereo. Should we work overtime to meet the deadline? Should we work overtime to meet the deadline? Are we coroners now? Are we coroners now? Their cousins are journeymen. Their cousins are journeymen. My niece is a veterinarian. My niece is a veterinarian. Your mother-in-law is an intern. Your mother-in-law is an intern. Should he forget? Should he forget? I think we should consider these. I think we should consider these. Can fit monthly. Can fit monthly. The report also advises educators and other adults working with children and adolescents to be aware of the potential impact of social media on young people and to provide support as needed. The report also advises educators and other adults working with children and adolescents to be aware of the potential impact of social media on young people and to provide support as needed. I'm in the room at the end of the hallway. I'm in the room at the end of the hallway. We both need to work together to achieve our goal. We both need to work together to achieve our goal. I don't want to lose my magazines for the machine. I don't want to lose my magazines for the machine. They can be removed on a weekly basis. They can be removed on a weekly basis. A professor is someone who teaches at a university. A professor is someone who teaches at a university. Is her stepbrother a translator? Is her stepbrother a translator? Can we imply 5 centuries ahead? Can we imply 5 centuries ahead? He was dragged out of the car. He was dragged out of the car. We should do weekly detective work. We should do weekly detective work. Not focused soon? Not focused soon? Your neighbor is Docker. Your neighbor is Docker. He had a gun to protect. He had a gun to protect. Your aunt is an astronomer. Your aunt is an astronomer. Can he always finish? Can he always finish? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? He cleans his house every weekend. He cleans his house every weekend. Our members are very active and we have a lot of fun. Our members are very active and we have a lot of fun. I can go to the concert tonight. I can go to the concert tonight. Can't they be aviators soon? Can't they be aviators soon? Should I fire the warrior at dusk? Should I fire the warrior at dusk? By the time the book is finished, she will have been reading it for 3 weeks. By the time the book is finished, she will have been reading it for 3 weeks. He has an ace on his arm. He has an ace on his arm. He drives to work every day. He drives to work every day. Are their spouses painters? Are their spouses painters? Is your daughter a docker? Is your daughter a docker? It was too small for my ring finger. It was too small for my ring finger. By the end of the week, I will have completed all my training. By the end of the week, I will have completed all my training. Wouldn't I be a manager in 4 weeks? Wouldn't I be a manager in 4 weeks? Is his father a bellboy? Is his father a bellboy? Wouldn't there be a sportscaster every month? Wouldn't there be a sportscaster every month? I was so shy that I couldn't speak. I was so shy that I couldn't speak. Should we never commit clowns? Should we never commit clowns? Your uncle was a blacksmith. Your uncle was a blacksmith. Were his children soldiers? Were his children soldiers? Is our stepsister a surrogate? Is our stepsister a surrogate? The wind was blowing my hair and I was feeling very alive. The wind was blowing my hair and I was feeling very alive. What time does the airport shuttle leave? What time does the airport shuttle leave? Do you feel? Do you feel? The disease spread rapidly and affected many people in the community. The disease spread rapidly and affected many people in the community. After we cast our votes, we left the ballot box. After we cast our votes, we left the ballot box. Is our daughter a comedian? Is our daughter a comedian? Should advance at sunrise. Should advance at sunrise. 4 p.m. can ignore it. 4 p.m. can ignore it. Our husband is a filmmaker. Our husband is a filmmaker. Are her siblings interpreters? Are her siblings interpreters? Our grandfather was a doctor. Our grandfather was a doctor. We play next year. We play next year. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. Your friend is the installer. Your friend is the installer. Could he be a pathologist in the twilight? Could he be a pathologist in the twilight? 4 nights later he won't make a statement. 4 nights later he won't make a statement. Are informed monthly. Are informed monthly. I will work. I will work. Were his grandchildren butchers? Were his grandchildren butchers? Does her stepdaughter write? Does her stepdaughter write? They are the innkeeper at sunrise. They are the innkeeper at sunrise. Didn't I add it before? Didn't I add it before? They are invited at sunset. They are invited at sunset. Should they insist? Should they insist? You can't imagine daily. You can't imagine daily. I may not run after 3 p.m. I may not run after 3 p.m. Should be appreciated every year. Should be appreciated every year. I live in the city but I am originally from the county. I live in the city but I am originally from the county. Must force it. Must force it. Don't I remember every year? Don't I remember every year? They make a budget every month. They make a budget every month. They swim in the pool every summer. They swim in the pool every summer. Wish it would. Wish it would. I won't get it in a minute. I won't get it in a minute. Couldn't he have stepped in 3 centuries ago? Couldn't he have stepped in 3 centuries ago? I don't notice anything in particular about these. I don't notice anything in particular about these. Produced the day before. Produced the day before. How much is a room per night? How much is a room per night? I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? The consumer should read the label before purchasing the product. The consumer should read the label before purchasing the product. Should it succeed after one night? Should it succeed after one night? Was our grandmother a window cleaner? Was our grandmother a window cleaner? His friends were singers. His friends were singers. Is your aunt a vocalist? Is your aunt a vocalist? I'm going to vocational high school. I'm going to vocational high school. I have to limit. I have to limit. Immediately became botanists. Immediately became botanists. After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. I'm going to the apartment. I'm going to the apartment. We need to find a case for the new phone. We need to find a case for the new phone. Wouldn't he want it then? Wouldn't he want it then? I studied Spanish in high school. I studied Spanish in high school. For if there is no chance of a storm, I will go out. For if there is no chance of a storm, I will go out. We can't usually be broken. We can't usually be broken. You will not blow at noon. You will not blow at noon. I shouldn't be feeding at sunset. I shouldn't be feeding at sunset. His brother-in-law is the financier. His brother-in-law is the financier. I thought you said you needed help. I thought you said you needed help. We don't get involved often. We don't get involved often. Can you explain this to me? Can you explain this to me? Don't we rarely have to get manicures? Don't we rarely have to get manicures? Are there stepmothers opticians? Are there stepmothers opticians? His brother was a translator. His brother was a translator. We can often protect. We can often protect. Then they are followed. Then they are followed. I walked my dog in the morning. I walked my dog in the morning. Can it wait every week? Can it wait every week? Then lose a weekend? Then lose a weekend? Was not attractive. Was not attractive. His father is an illusionist. His father is an illusionist. We walked for miles along the beach. We walked for miles along the beach. The house is out of the reach of manpower. The house is out of the reach of manpower. We'll take a step. We'll take a step. I don't want to lose my losses for many things. I don't want to lose my losses for many things. They shouldn't believe in the sunset. They shouldn't believe in the sunset. Is your grandfather a bartender? Is your grandfather a bartender? Do you have to play? Do you have to play? Your friend is the owner. Your friend is the owner. The test was easy, passed with great success. The test was easy, passed with great success. You shouldn't retire next year. You shouldn't retire next year. I am aware that I need to improve my English. I am aware that I need to improve my English. May not drink. May not drink. Can I have a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? I have to clean it after 5 months. I have to clean it after 5 months. We did not complete. We did not complete. Shouldn't care now. Shouldn't care now. Can never clear. Can never clear. Should not question. Should not question. Then it should install. Then it should install. They walked to the other side of the bridge. They walked to the other side of the bridge. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Haven't we dreamed often? Haven't we dreamed often? Are we failing after 5 months? Are we failing after 5 months? The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate. The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate.